Good morning and happy Earth Day. Started my morning with walk with our pup, and I have an early call today at 8 o'clock with a future guest on one of the podcasts that I produce. But just look at how beautiful it is. And then you see things like this, and this, and this. So I guess we're just gonna pick these up.
You want my powers, I will show you where they go. You like the wind, I'll tell you where it goes. Clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go, yeah.
Nice to meet you too. How are you? Good. Thanks for your understanding last week. Yeah, we had this horrible wind. It's like 90 miles per hour the whole weekend. I don't know if you saw it in the news, the whole Colorado area. And yeah, so we had some disruptions. Thankfully, they repaired everything pretty quickly, but thanks for being understanding and moving the meeting. So I just finished the call with Marcus, and now I need something to eat. I'm starving. So I'm gonna go ahead and make breakfast. Would you like to join me? Let's do it. All right, so I'm done with my batter for the waffles. I'm gonna let them sit for about 10 minutes. I'm using kefir and baking soda for this recipe instead of baking powder. So I have to give batter about 10 minutes for the chemical reaction between soda and kefir to occur for it to become bubbly. But it's definitely worth the wait because waffles turn out amazing. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna cut up some fruit. I have some strawberries and some blueberries here. And one of the difficult things when you become conscious of your impact on the planet is eliminating plastic. Just because it's so widespread, all of the berries like these come in plastic. I mean, this is plastic right here. So sometimes it feels like it's almost impossible to eliminate all the plastic. So something that I've been thinking about is that I'll probably buy produce in the markets, like farmers markets in the area. And then I'm also planting some strawberries, like these wild strawberries that can grow in the pots. Another thing that you can easily make at home are different nut butters, or in my case, it's the sunflower butter. If you live in the US, you probably know the sunflower butter is like a nut-free alternative to nut butters. And it's usually very expensive. So for like a smaller container, you'll probably pay like $7 to $10 depending on what store you go to. But you can easily make some butter just from roasted sunflower seeds, and I usually just buy them raw. I roast them for about 5 minutes in the oven, and then after they cool off, you just put them in the blender. You can add a little bit of salt, sprinkle salt, a little bit of sweetener if you would like. This one doesn't even have any sweetener and it tastes amazing. Just a pinch of salt. And then you blend it and add just a tiny bit of olive oil. So we're gonna spread some of this on our waffles. So good. When I first moved, as an immigrant, I didn't really have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford many things, and I would get clothes at Goodwill. But as my income grew, so did my closet. The more things you can afford, the higher the chance that you're gonna throw things out or buy things that you don't really need or use. And at one point I came across content just like this video where someone was talking about recycling. And that's how my journey towards trying to learn how to be a better steward of the earth started. One of the things that many people don't realize is that we nowadays basically eat plastic, and the reason is because the single-use plastic that is being thrown into the landfills goes into the dirt. It falls apart, it doesn't decompose completely, but it falls apart into microplastics. And these microplastics travel into the water. The water from our rivers goes into the ocean, and so we can be drinking microplastics with our water, or when we eat fish, there might be some microplastics that fish consumed. And I really like how Bonnie puts it in her book, plastics are materials. We need to look at plastics, aluminum, all of the stuff that is considered trash as materials, and how can we use them and value them just as much as gold or silver or any other materials that are used and considered to be precious. I really like that message because it makes you think, how can you not only not waste so much, but how can you reuse it? And some of the ways that I've reused materials is I collect jars. So you'll see we'll make some milks today. I'll put them in jars from different, olives or pickles. I collect them, sanitize them, wash them, and reuse them for something else. And then I also use some of the plastic containers for planting. So I'm gonna start my vegetable garden this year, and I planted some microgreens in plastic containers. So there are ways to reuse items and look at them as valuable materials and not just some trash. So the plan for today is let's make some plant-based milks. We'll also start some bread dough. Bread dough for the bread. And then I do have a couple of work things to do, so we'll do that together. I'm editing a podcast, and it's been taking me way longer than expected. So we'll finish that. And then I also want to show you this really cool thing that I got to catch microplastics. So I'll show you that. Let's go. So I've never actually tried making hemp milk. I just got it from Amazon. Organic hemp seeds. So we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, everything comes in plastic. Even though this is organic, vegan, all natural, but plastic packaging. I wonder if this is a half cup. Can't tell anymore. Pinch of salt. And I'll add a little bit of honey because the recipe calls for it, so we'll see. We'll just strain it and put it in one of our reused jars. While this is straining, I'm gonna start some homemade bread.
Just hear your voice on the phone, I think of you, and I'm not alone. You are everything under the sky so blue. I found my piece of heaven.
So one of the things that we started doing recently in our household is composting. So whenever we cook, we will collect all of the food scraps, any leftovers, anything like that, and we'll dump them into this little bucket that we have next to our sink. I know it's not very aesthetically pleasing. It's just a regular container, and there are many options online for beautiful composting containers, but this one works really well because we fill it up pretty quickly within probably a day. And then we take this little container and we dump everything into a bigger bucket that we have on our patio. And then once that one fills up, we take all of our compost to Compost Colorado, which is a service that allows you to drop off your food scraps. You can also opt in for the pickup option where they will come and pick up your compost right from under your door, but we just choose to drop it off because it's not too far. Ta-da! So this is called Cora Bowl, and so I decided to order 3 of these. I'm gonna keep a couple of these and then gift one of them. This little thing supposedly catches on microplastic from your clothes. So if you have any athletic clothes, any clothes that has polyester or any of the synthetic materials, it should catch on microplastics. So I'm excited to try it out. All right, so I started laundry and also dishwasher. Now I have about an hour to get some of the podcast editing done. So I'm gonna get right into it.
When people ask me, what do you do? And I'd always say, I work at Casa Bonita. It was always 1 or 2 questions. The first one, were you a diver? And I did spend a lot of time in the pool. At some point, I pretty much did everything in the building, at every position.
I use Epidemic Sound for editing podcasts and videos, and I love it because they have so many different effects. So there's this one part where I'm contemplating if I want to add some sound design or not.
Where the divers would come underneath and you're...
Where the guest is describing this restaurant and the waterfall and all of that, and I'm just like, do I add some sound design? Do I not add some sound design? By the way, if you decide that you want to watch this video podcast or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I'll add the link in the description of this video so you can check it out. So it sounds like our bread is done, so we're gonna shape it. But one thing that I like to do when working on podcasts is I like to close my eyes and listen to it, because your perception of things is a little bit different when you're looking at something versus when you're listening to it.
Yeah, the top of the waterfall at Casa Bonita. So you had the dive pit where the divers would come underneath, and you're in this dive pit which has a shower, and it's just this little pit that has the pool heater, the water pump, and a shower for the divers, and then you climb up the ladder, and one little cave would take you out to the front of the stage where you perform, and then 2, you go all the way up to the top, and that was access to the top of the waterfall.
Need another ladder here. I'm gonna go shape the bread really quick and then get back to it.
Gravel road, I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out. Who will care for the world now? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me, take my hand and lead even when I disagree. Oh, how I love when it rains outside, and it's okay to slow the ride. Discover books I forget about, but who care for the world now? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal tea. Reach out for me, take my hand and lead even when I disagree.
Alright, so bread is in the oven. It's gonna be done in about 14 minutes. And while it's baking, I'm gonna make another great thing that you can make at home instead of buying plasticky store-bought, is hummus. Let's do it. By the way, if you are like me a couple of years ago, you can't just throw your jars or these aluminum cans into the recyclers just like this. You have to rinse them out, and also you have to take off the paper packaging. Now it's ready to go into your recycle bin.
When I'll be coming home, then I'll be at your door.
I also collect lemon peels right now and freeze them for a homemade cleaning product. Salt. I ran out of cumin, so I'm using coriander. You can also add some red pepper flakes if you would like, and a little bit of olive oil. Now let's blend everything. You can sprinkle paprika if you have it. I just don't have any right now.
be coming home. And I'm on my
Here they are.
way. When I'll be coming home, I wanna see you play the music of your heart. I'm followed by your light. Whenever we're apart, it takes me through the night. When I look deep into your eyes, oh, when I look deep into your eyes.
Thank you, Mother Earth, for this beautiful, beautiful snack. So something that I like to do during my lunch is read, and I have this very ancient Kindle. I bought it in 2012. It's probably such an old model that you can't even buy it anymore. But for a while, it was just laying there in my drawer, and I haven't used it for a very long time. And then I learned about an app called Libby. And Libby, I think it's only in the US. It's basically a free library app that allows you to borrow books. And some of the books that you can borrow, you can go to library and get physical books, but you can also get books that are Kindle ready. So they're digital versions. And you wouldn't believe it how much money I save every single month just by using the app. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but I read a lot, and sometimes I will get a book that I read a couple of pages and I don't like it, and I don't return these books usually. So having books on the Kindle reader, it actually helps you to try out books and see if you like them. And most of the books are available pretty quickly. I probably have about 10 books that I'm on the wait list, and they're just kind of hanging there. But I don't mind because I still have a few books that I'm reading right now. That's just to say that being a good steward of the earth and taking care of the environment doesn't have to be more expensive. There are ways that you can not only reduce your footprint, such as not buying paper books and getting books at the library, that are not only good for the environment, but they're also great for your wallet. Some other ways of doing so are shopping secondhand before you purchase something new, repairing things that you already have instead of trading them for a new model. Or if you have, for instance, an old iPhone, just bring it in with you when you go to shop for a new phone. And sometimes you can trade it in for a small amount and get a discount, and then that item will actually get recycled and repurposed into a new phone. We often don't think about the impact of every single item that we buy or consume has on the environment. But even something simple like this piece of bread, the loaf of bread that we made in my kitchen just now over a couple of hours. If you would have produced this same piece of bread commercially, here's some of the things that would be involved. The raw materials, so the wheat and the salt and the oil and everything, all the ingredients that go into producing this bread. Growing the wheat, extracting the materials. So in order for us to get flour, it has to be transported, and transportation usually uses gas, which has to be extracted from the earth. There is processing and manufacturing. This bread has to be baked somewhere and then packaged into usually plasticky or sometimes paper packaging and transported to a store. There is shipping and transportation involved, not to mention the impact on the people involved in this entire chain. So if something is produced abroad, there's definitely a higher chance that these people are not being compensated for their work appropriately. So something like a loaf of bread that sometimes just is being forgotten and it grows mold, which I don't judge people, that happened to me as well. But something like that, we don't realize that that's not just the $2 loaf of bread that's wasted. It's all the work and all the materials and even water that's required to produce and to extract all these materials that goes to waste. Opting in to make these items, such as bread, in your own kitchen can be very impactful, even though it seems like just such a simple thing to do. Now, you may be watching this and you're just like, well, I don't know if I have the time, I don't know if I have the energy or the equipment to make bread, I don't know if I want to compost, and I totally get it. At the very least, if you would like to look into this issue a little bit more, I would suggest to watch a couple of different documentaries. I believe both of them are on Netflix. The first one is called Kiss the Dirt, and it is about the soil and our impact on the soil, and it's a fascinating documentary. And the second documentary is called Seaspiracy. After I watched that one, I stopped consuming fish. It impacted me deeply. I don't know if I'll ever go back to eating fish. I'm still trying to find some replacements for omega-3s, such as chia seeds, hemp milk, and hemp seeds. But I highly recommend you checking out those two documentaries. Now, I also have something special for sustainable brands out there. If you're watching this and you have an idea or a business that helps the environment, I would love to help you. I'll be happy to do a consultation. So if you would like to participate, if you would like to connect, go ahead and click on the link in the description, fill out a quick form, and I'll get in touch. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Earth Day.